مش مشغل الميكروفون. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all of you wherever you are. Welcome you again with your program Fatwa Live. The first question tonight, since the coming of the month of Ramadan, someone is asking about beautifying the house, the school, your office, to show some what is allowed to this, to show the happiness with the coming of this month of Ramadan. Wouldn't see the answer, wouldn't see any problem with beautifying your house or any school with anything that is permissible without going overdoing it. Because you don't want to be overspender, like Allah Azza wa Jal don't like those who overspend, overdo. And you have to avoid the music or picture to something that is alive. And that's considered that this kind of beautifying things from the normal stuff. And on the traditions, everything is permissible, except unless there's something that's forbidden by Allah. And that's different from the worship. Worship, you have to go according to what Allah has legislated or allowed or showed or said how. Allah is the one who created everything in this earth to your benefit. And even in the restaurants, everything is permissible except what is forbidden. Allah said in the Quran, I don't see of what is everything is permissible except and then Allah specified the dead and the blood and the pigs and so on and so forth. So there is nothing wrong with beautifying your house or schools or your office, anything of that sort. Another question. Since the taxes and the zakah, can you take the federal tax from the bank that has the, before you give the zakah, he have to pay taxes, and he have an account where that money stays there over a year? Can he deduct the taxes first before he pay the zakah? The answer, the zakah, it's required from his good money. Allah said, take from their money. You take from the zakah money what you have to pay, something close or bad, because the loans that are long term, you don't take it out from the zakah. And we have mentioned that somebody bought a house with 30-year finance. Is it true that he's gonna keep the house deductible every year for 30 years? No. So you don't pay the zakah? No. You take from the zakah what he has to pay at that time or something close, and he paid the zakah from any leftover, as long as it stayed 1 year, and then required to pay the zakah. A question, because last time we talked about something in the details. To put uh, um, money in for the kids, for their future, to invest in something for the future. Of course, the government they pay money or to match. They have some programs to match it. It's the kids' education funds or kids funds or retirement fund. So when you look at this accounts that you're talking, whether this in this or that, there's a decision. If those accounts, it is a way to get the grants from the government or from your work and to take care of that investment for other time. So there's nothing wrong. So to use those, you have to your best to invest this account for the things that are permissible and to use uh, companies that gives you advices and they make the difference between what's permissible and not permissible. And the Sheikh is talking in details on the things that are permissible, uh, but, but the income that you're gonna get, you need to make sure that it's not invested in something that is mixed, where something is permissible, some is not, or something is completely forbidden. You have to avoid that. And the percentage of the money that is mixed that you have from the sources that is not allowed is to get rid of that to the public avenues. And we hope that you get reward at least for getting rid of something that is not permissible. The Prophet ﷺ, when someone came to him, he said, I am destroyed. He said, what destroyed you? He said, I slept with my wife in Ramadan during the daytime. He said, can you fast 60 days? He said, what get me into this promise of fasting? He said, can you free a slave? He said, I can't except mine. I don't own nothing but mine. Can you feed 60 needy? He said, no. So the Prophet ﷺ got some food. He said, get this food, feed 60 needy. He said, on who? By Allah. No one is more in need than me. He said, take it and feed your own family. His money is in his hand. It will go for public, but he is most needy. He is most needy for it than others. The about the personal uh, finance. The question is, the person goes to the bank and he will ask personal finance. So he sells uh, the shares. he will buy 100 shares, value of 60 each, so that's 60,000 or 600 in their currency. It divided into 5 years. And and then he sells those shares he wants with 50,000 when he loses 10,000. Is that allowed? First of all, I would like to let you know that Al Jarajhi Bank has an observation fiqh that look for. He said you need to make a difference between the expression tawarruq and ina. The tawarruq is allowed and ina is forbidden. What is that? The first one, you buy the commodity with a long thing, but you sell that commodity to someone else beside the one who sold you. So you can get the cash. So you sell it less because he needs the cash. That is allowed. We don't have riba usually. And that's a way to get some cash. You get a car, for example, $10,000. He will sell it to somebody else, anybody, with 9,000. You get 10,000, 9,000, but he still owe 10,000 for a year or two, depends on what the deal between him and the seller of the car. But important who he sold it. You don't sell it to the same seller. No, it has to sell it to somebody else. That is allowed. And the majority of the scholars, they allowed it or permitted because Allah allowed selling and forbid the riba. But it is conditioned that you cannot sell it to the same seller or to any of his representatives. Not for the seller nor his representative because Allah cannot follow Allah. If he did, because if he did, then he got to the term ina, which is forbidden. So the ina is to get a commodity, you sell it with a later money or value, and then you buy it again from him for less money, so you give him the cash. That is not allowed. This is forbidden. We hope it is clear. A question. My father, he is 80 years old. He could not fast 20 days in Ramadan last year. He had an accident. His body, he's in good body condition, but his sanity is, there is questions about it. He fasted 2 days of the days that he broke it last year, but with hardship. And he tells us he's sick and he don't have to fast. I will fast later. Oh, and he don't know that he have to do other. So what does he do? My dear brother, the elder people with all those who have terminal diseases and they cannot fast, then it becomes not obligatory on them, but it is they feed the needy. Because Allah said, "Oh, you believe it was prescribed on you the fasting, and it is a few days who were sick or traveling, and to do it some other days. And for those who cannot do it, to make the fidya of feeding the needy, one needy. And whomever chose to do it, it is better for him. Fasting is better for you. This is not, as Bukhari ibn Abbas said, it's not supersede the others. No, all the elders, men, women, who cannot fast, then they feed for each day a needy. A woman said that she makes hijama every year. Can I do it while I'm fasting or choose a different day? Like she gonna get more reward for doing it while fasting? Sister, why the hijama during the fasting, and it could void your fasting? There is a big dispute that it will void your fasting, because the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith that he who did the hijama, the person it was performed on, both of them, they have broke their fast. They used to hate uh, to break the fast, and to avoid it, it is better during the fasting. So try to avoid it if you can. Don't risk your religion. Nothing is better than safety in religion. Another question. Somebody says, I have virus in my eye and I put antibiotic in my eye 4 times a day, and I have to do that for a month. And whenever I do it, I feel with some bitterness in my mouth. Does that break your fasting? No, the answer, it does not avoid your fasting, even if you taste it in your throat. But you spit it, don't swallow it. Don't spit it if you can. It is better to leave it to night to stay away from the fasting. But if you need it during the daytime, not a problem, inshallah. And if you see the taste in your throat, just spit it if you can. A question. Is it permissible when you give the zakah to take more than what is required? The first thing you say, yes. What is wrong with me being more? The question is asking, can I, when I give it, or do I need to pay it like this and then have the intention that it is a general charity, so we will not increase in something that Allah ordered us to do? It's like whomever add a rak'ah in the prayers. That's the way that she's thinking, that if you added something in the worship, that you have done something wrong. Just like the prayer, you cannot add an extra thing. No, you can't. It's okay. You have the intention that you pay the zakah, and the extra is for voluntarily. As Shafi'i, they said, it is hated to increase because that is something decided by Allah. Don't make it. This is the zakah, and then you do anything you want. That's a different issue. Whomever volunteer, it is good for him. But make the obligatory as Allah Azza wa Jal has obligated. to have the principles of the religion, so it'll be pure through ages, with no increase or less. And Allah does not forget anybody who does for His sake. A man who wants to buy a business in Canada, and that business, there's money comes from selling pig. Can he get into that business? The answer, if he bought it to get rid of the thing that is forbidden in that shopping center, as soon as he is capable of doing it, that's good. We are called for purifications, to call to what is good, and to purify things from any filth. So I'll purify anything from what is permissible, because Allah said, those who, if you give them steadfast in the earth, they will establish the prayers, they give the zakah, and they ordain what is good from what is evil. So if you are the decision maker, then you will, if you have that intention to change, that is allowed. Maybe there's a transition area before this happened. So you try to get rid of that forbidden income, and you put it in the public avenue, and hopefully you will get the reward of purifying yourself. Can the husband stop his wife from the extra fasting to eat with him only? Not. She's forbidden to fast because if you want to have sexual intercourse, but for eating with him, to be his companion while he's eating, she said, we tell him he should not do that. It's better to be helping her on the obedience of Allah, and to be happy that his partner, the mother of his kid, that she is doing obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. But it is an open issue. It is permissible. Someone who is not sitting with his kid at all. The only time he has, they eat together in one table. So you tell him today I'm fasting. It's not going to change the family meeting, especially in the times of permissible. It is okay, but if he is instant, she has to obey him, because what Bukhari mentioned, no one can fast when he is witness except uh, with his permission. If I wanted to get some loan from the company, I was gonna take a loan from work, and the owner, he gave me a choice to take it in the Egyptian pound with the official value, and there is no difference between them when you take the loan. But I'm afraid that there will be something wrong. Uh, the origin that the loans will be returned with its equal, not with its value. And you could be accepted with a different currency, but it has to be with a price on the day that you fulfill it, not when he's holding, when you took the loan. And there's difference between the actual value than the real value. So the currency went up at the time of the Prophet. They said, "Can't you?" There was like high prices. He said, "No." They asked the Prophet to do careful. He said, "No, Allah is the one who prices." But the scholars they said at the time of calamity, if the merchants they took it in their own storehouses to make sure there is a bigger price, so they can uh, interfere to make sure that they get the to stop the greed of those who invest in people's miseries. And you have to do the exchange on the current price. Uh, Now, if the person is nice, the good of given when if you return the loan more, good. The Prophet ﷺ, he someone who had a camel, so he wants something older. Someone gave like $10,000. If I want to give him, the, this can't be what the goodness in giving back the money, because Allah says, if the one who has hardship, to look at an ease, and if you give charity, it's better for you, if you know. I mean, our question today, I had the I have some imagination. I married, but I have the private habit, and I don't know whether I said the word to my wife while I was thinking. Is what I did. So everything you get the urge outside the wife, that will make you among those who have committed a big crime or big sin. Any whispering of the shaitan where you are trying to avoid and push back, and you succeed some and it will urge you sometime. This is something I hope that Allah will forgive you, as long as you are always fighting those desires and never give to them. Like a man, they said, some of us wish that he could fall from the mountain than to find him. He said, "You found it yourself. That's the uh, pure faith. This is the to push those whispering outside is part of the core of your faith." Is it true that Aisha was he married her was 6? Yes. It's combined the prayers because of rain and snow, even though it is common here in this country. Uh, the combined the the prayers. This is okay between Dhuhr and Asr and then Maghrib and Isha. That's fine. But the rain is not going to be hard. Allah Azza wa Jal loves that His ease comes in, just like His obligation.
حكم جمع صلاتين بسبب الذهاب إلى
So it's
المقبرة
okay.
حتى لا تفوت الصلاة الثانية علما بأن
About
السفر
the
يمكن عادة في هذه البلاد. أنا
the
لا أعرف
prayer,
عن أي بلد تتحدث ولا عن أي عادة تتحدث، لكن يا ولدي الجمع بسبب
to,
المرض
to
الشروط
combine because
الصحية
of
المشقة
to
التي تمر
combine the
به
prayer because of hardship,
الإنسان
that because of illness, is fine. It's allowed.
في بند واسع
It is a big
يسع
issue that why you can or when can you combine the prayers.
ضرورة
When
حرج
there is a hardship,
واختلاف موجود.
uh,
المسلم
you
لا
are
يعيد إلا بعد
choked.
قيامه إلى وقت الصلاة الثانية. في هذه الحالة
At that time.
يجبك أن تجمع قبل أن تركب السيارة حتى تدرك الصلاة قبل خروج الوقت. لكن أنا لا أعلم
But I
الذهاب
don't
إلى
know,
المقبرة
go to that
كان من
cemetery.
الحاجات التي
Is
تمنع
that
من أن
from the thing that you combine the prayers?
قبل ذلك ما لم يكن
This is something, unless there is
الشديد.
a reason to give a
يعني
funeral
شيء جنازة أحدث اختلاف مروري
and
وجمع
there's no, there's traffic was
وكان
bad.
هذا متوقعا قبل الخروج وقبل الذهاب، زي حين العاب في منطقه هيوستن، وناس متوقعه المنطقه دي فيها انسداد مروري وكذا. ان دخلت في السكه دي
If you enter a place where there's traffic,
كانت المساله واقعه.
it is something that is expected or it happened. So hope that you can combine.
المهم الذي اود
What I want to stress on,
ان تعظيم امر
glorify Allah's order.
لا بتشدد غايه،
Don't meet it with an extreme in either way.
يعني لا تمتنع عن استعمال
Don't
الرخصه
stop
مهما وقع الضيق عليك.
to get license no matter what happens.
عن حد المشروع وعن حد الاعتداء، ولا تترخص عند اول عارض
And it's not allowed with the first thing that could happen.
أو مشقة خفيفة. تكليف إلزام ما فيه كلفة. التكليف إلزام ما فيه مشقة. لا
There's
يكاد
no
ينفك التكليف عن المشقة.
obligation than without hardship.
لا تؤثر على التكليف ولا تسقطه. المشقة إذا زادت
The hardship, when it's increased,
الأمر تسعى، والمشقة تجب التيسير. عشان تصوم رمضان
to fast Ramadan
قائد في مكة أو
in Mecca or any place like that,
مشقة شديدة لكنها محتملة، ليست سببا للفطر. لكن إذا زدنا على هذا إن عامل بيشتغل أمام الفرن،
if someone is
في مخبز أمام الفرن
working in front of the oven, 12 hours he is into the fire, of course he will be so thirsty. That's an exception.
بس ده بنقول له إيه؟
But what do we tell him?
إنه الصيام من الليل
He make the intention
شق
at night.
عليك
If he can't, then take from the water
ما تدفع
what will throw that urge so you can take care of your business and what is allowed in, uh,
والذين يمسكون
and you could compensate that day some other time.
بالصراط كنا لنضيع أجر المصلح. على كل حال يعني على كل حال يعني أنا يعني متخيل إن في حاجة عند تشييع الجنائز، لكن مشوار أنت مخطط له سلفا يبدو لي إن ترخص فيه في قدر من استخدام الرخصة بجدارة. نتدبر المسألة بضوء هذه المقدمات التي ذكرتها. هل يجب على المسلمين الجدد الصوم
If the new Muslims have to fast or half a day,
من سوء خليفة؟ الصوم مفهوم الشرع
it is obligated
عن شهوتي البطن والفرج من طلوع الفجر إلى
from dawn till dusk.
والتكليف مماته الكبرى.
And the obligation it depends on the capability. So I'm not quite quiet about a newcomer to Islam until he is well established in Islam.
إلى أن يثبت الإيمان في قلبه
Until I see steadfastness in the faith in his heart.
المفتي أو العالم أو الشيخ المتابع لحال الآلة المسلمين الجديد. لا تستخدم قاعدة عامة
But you don't use a general. You just like the doctor. You have to analyze and then you put the medicine where it's supposed to.
ولا تمنعوها أهلها فتظلموه وكونوا كالطبيب يضع الدواء في موضع الداء.
Is the
الخيالات والوساوس اثناء
uh,
العاده الزوجيه
marriage?
حصل فيه شيء يعني انفصل. يا ولدي يبدو
My
واضحا
son,
انك مصاب بوساوس
you
قهريه
have
في زوجتك
whispering.
انجذب الى طبيب
You need to
نفسي
go to a doctor
للعنايه ان شاء
who could
الله
treat you,
وهذا شيء
inshallah.
من الله ان انزل
And
السماء.
no illness
علمه
without
الحديث
a
من
cure.
لدن جيده. يا ولدي الزواج لا لا
The
يرتبط
marriage does not
حتى
void
لو
because
تصطدم
of
الزوجان
imagination.
باحتياج الخليط، لكن الزواج يبطل بالاصرار على
With the
الوفاء.
insistence of reverting
والموت
or
عليه
to die on it.
في الواحد وقت الشبه مباشرة الزواج
Someone
يبطل. هكذا تعامل الشريعة المواقف العلاقات الأسرية. لا، الزواج يا ولدي لا
the marriage
صورة
is not
مستعجلة
that rush that you are expressing.
المسلم إذا
And the Muslim,
استزله الشيطان
if the shaitan pushed
لا
him,
يبادر بخطوته السوية
that
الاستغفار
he repent to Allah and ask forgiveness,
وقت الندم في
he have the regret in his heart.
بخصوص إطعام
About feeding the needy as compensation for the Ramadan, does that needy need to be Muslim?
في الكفارات
In the
الشرعية
charity, that it is for the Muslims. That's the priority.
وقد تعطى
I can give in to others as to soften their hearts.
لهم سهم في أموال الزكاة ولا استثناء في بذل الصدقات الواجبة أو الأطعمة الواجبة لغير المسلمين. أفتيت صاحب سؤال
You have made
السائل
the fatwa about the elder to
خرف العقد
feed, but he is not obligated.
الفرق بين خرف عقدي يأتي ويروح
Difference between
أو خرف عقدي مستمر.
a continuous one and the one that's keep going back and forth. If it's continuous, then just like the insane, there is no obligation. But if he go and come back, then at the time he is sane, then you know he's obligated. I have security company. How do I do the zakah? The zakah on the income that you get, and you have commodity that you sell. But who gives services? There's zakah on the someone have a private school, and you have principle of computer, this, that. That is not part of zakah. The money that you, what is there for buying and selling to profit. So income from that company is you have to pay the zakah on. Whether it got the time period or not. Can you work in a school that teach Christianity or be a security? Well, security outside has nothing to do with what they are doing. And if you could pass it to something else, it is better. It's more guarding for you. Can you use vanilla that has some alcohol? The rule, whatever intoxicates you, what abundance will intoxicate you, then little will be forbidden. But if it's not going to intoxicate, no matter how much you drink, خلاص. I have a product. There's 10,000. I get it from China with specified things. I found some flaws. I was gonna sell it $20, for example. I wanted to sell it 15 with the flaw. I can, and my zakah in Ramadan. How do I do? I don't know whether it's gonna be sold or not, and how much. Do I fee somebody who could sell it, buy it or not? My son, you when it's the time, you take the value of its value at this time.
عنده من نقد
We said he got what he had
وبالسلع
in
يطالبها بقيمة النقد بس
cash and what he
وما كان
used
له من ديون على
for
الناس
that, and what
يدفعه إلى
debt he had from others that he
وما كان
taken out,
عليه من دين يطرحه ثم يزكي فيما بعد
and then he made the zakah. But
إن تحولت السلع
if the commodity
إلى
becomes
سلع كاسدة
of
وأصبحت
a
لا
product that
يمكن
cannot sell,
بيعها
you cannot expect it, then the majority that it is,
كلما حال عليه حول هجري يقومه بزكاة
you pay it every year.
بعض المالكية
But some Maliki madhab, they say no, you do it
يجب المحتجر
the
فتزكى إذا
so you do it only when it's sold and also for only 1 year.
المالكية يفرقون في باب الزكاة بين التاجر المحتكر والتاجر المدير. التاجر المدير الذي يبيع
The
بسعره ولا ينتظر حوالة الأسعار.
the
التاجر المحتكر يشتري سلعة بزمن رخيص
there's some people who buy during the time of hardship. They buy it cheap and then they sell when it's easy.
إلا إذا باع بالكتاب.
And he's not supposed to the zakat till he does sell. Yes, only 1 year, no matter how many years it stays.
أظن هذا القول فيه رفق.
And this is more lenient for people.
المزكون ليسوا أعداء.
Those who make zakat, they're not our enemies. Remember.
جميعا وظلوا في الأرض بإعجاب جميعا. فيمكن تقليد هذا الرأي عند الاقتضاء رفعا الحرج عن أصحاب السلع الفاسدة إذا طال عليها الأمد. سائل يقول
Someone's asking,
وإحنا بنتزوج
when we
بنجيب زعجة
when we get married, we bring a goat and we slaughter it and we celebrate.
قال سيهب هذه الشاة لله.
And the groom, they said, I will give it to Allah.
العريس يطلع نصفها لله
Get him half to his lillah and second for the family.
يلزم لرفاقه أم لا؟ أصلا يجوز للعريس أن ينبغي
Can they make this another?
أو لا هم اللي هو
He is not spend any money. He is making
طبعا هذا إنه
on something.
على ابن آدم فيما لا يملك.
There is no other on something he don't own.
نظر على ابن آدم فيما لا يملك لحديث لا نظر لابن آدم
Because the Prophet said, there is no other for what he don't own or free from what he don't own. No divorce for what he don't. Someone divorce one.
في مرحلة الخطوبة
He swear that he's gonna divorce her. Well, she's not married yet.
هذا الطلاق
That divorce is not even happened.
يسدد إليه هذه الطلقة. فلا نظر على ابن آدم فيما لا يملك ولا عتق له فيما لا يملك ولا طلاق له فيما لا يملك. فالقرار في هذا لمن أنشأ النذر وتكفل بقيمته. لكن يا ولدي هذه المسائل
These are issues you do with consultation,
ولا يجب أن تكون
and you should not make it or expose it on people. يلا يا شيخ لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. The person still argue about his habit.
القصد ان وقف عن الزكاة خيال للشخص يطلق لكن ما نضع بشيء وهو سواء ليست له قيمة
Is
أم ملزم بشيء.
again, my son, the divorce,
من الإفصاح عنه
you have to declare it with a saying or action. To say you're divorced, or to write my wife is divorced,
يعني الموضوع خلص يعني
or to wipe your hands like that and explain that خلاص, we're done.
هو كده ايه خلص الموضوع يعني لأن الإشارة من الأخرس تقوم مقام العبارة المفهومة من النظر. لكن يا حبيبي
My son,
المبتلى بالوساوس
who have these
لا
whispering is not happen, even if he expose it, except if he intended to it, happy with it. Because before that he is still in إغلاق, which means he is not aware of what he is saying. So don't give yourself to the shaitan, where he puts you the whispering, the fluctuation into this, and he will ruin your everything for you.
اللهم اهدنا سواء
يلا يا
السبيل
شيخ.
وقنا عذابك يوم تبعث عبادك يا رب العالمين. حكم قسم سورة الكهف يوم الجمعة على مرتين.
How about reading the Surah Al-Kahf twice? Nothing wrong with that, inshallah.
فلا يلزم أن تقرأ السورة مرة واحدة، بل لو فرق قراءتها في أثناء اليوم حصل المقصود شرعا، لأن المقصود أن تقع قراءة جميع السورة في ذلك الوقت.
You need to recite it the whole time, but if you did it in the prayer
يوم الجمعة
at the day of Jummah, start ظهرا عصر, finish it, it's fine. It did it, inshallah.
إذ المقصود من قراءتها يحصل
What?
لكن المبادرة إذا
But you read it all at once with no separation, it is better. And to fulfill Allah saying, rush to the goodness, and Allah knows the best. Last question. Someone said something about the time. Because Allah said, what is this life except play and enjoyment? And the hereafter, it is the real life. Because Allah says, know that the life, it is, He describes it as an enjoyment and falsehood, and it's and Allah described what happens in the hereafter, so we have to intend for the hereafter. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept. Subhanakallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.